Hi everyone, this is Dee Shelburne. I am a Sew Steady promoted instructor and I teach rulers and host Ruler Club at Midwest Sewing and Vacuum in Wichita, Kansas. Please come and see us. So today I'm going to be using panel C. This does not come in your kit or in your box, but it is available for purchase. But I'm going to be doing some of these mini Baptist fan templates with on this panel, and I'm going to do something different than this, but this is really cool. This is something you could do. I like this very much. So I am going to be using the mini Baptist fan templates. They allow you to do unique designs like this. This is just showing a couple of iterations, but the set comes with 4 templates, and you can use the inside of the channel or the outside of the channel. So each one will give you, or each gives you 2 different lines. So you can have a total of 8 lines if you wish. I'm going to use 4, and I'm only going to use the outer channel. All right. Also, in the center of my pillow, I'm going to use this Snowflake number 10 and make this design up here. Here's the package that comes in. It also has on the other end another little template, and so you can do all of these kinds of things. I'm going to do one kind of like the one at the top here. Your box also comes with Snowflake number 9, so you could choose to use it instead, or any of your templates, any of your spin effects, or anything else for that matter. So let me put a few things out of my way here. You're also going to need your crosshair square. I'm going to use an 8-point, but of course you could use whatever number you wish. I'm also going to use my straight edge ruler. I'm using the 12-inch arc, but you could use any straight edge that you wanted to use. When I get the top done, I'm going to use these blue pieces for the back of my pillow. I have done some drawing. If you don't have a design pad, get one, because this is just awesome where you can practice things before you do them. This is using template number 9, but it's not the one I'm going to end up using. I'm going to do a design similar to this. Notice that here on my pillow, or on my yellow piece, I did start it. This is a 12-inch square, and I actually drew a line inside here at 11 inches and started with that. You can see I'm doing the mini Baptist fan just around the edges, and then I'm going to do my Spin Effects snowflake in the center. I actually am going to, on my real design, go out to the 12-inch line and start, make it bigger, giving myself more space in the center, and I'm going to open that up a bit. But I got to tell you, I really do love this one because I feel like this makes little hearts, or they're holding hands or something. So it's just too cute. But I'm going to open mine up, spread it out a little bit, and use that space. That's what we're going for. But again, get yourself a design pad. They're wonderful. All right, so I have already started. I've done half of the outside mini Baptist fan things here, as you can see. And I'm using a thread that pretty much blends in. You can see it a little bit, but notice on this one, I used a really contrasting one. So, you know, any flaws are going to show up a little more that way, but maybe not if I don't point them out. So I have started, oh, you hear my thread falling to the floor. I started over in this corner and I went down this edge, and then I turned, and now I'm finished going down this edge. So now I'm ready to turn again. So I want you to see what I do when I turn and then how we finish up at the end. So I'm starting halfway, but starting halfway is just about the same. Your starting area is going to be the same when we get going here. Well, first I want to, because I am at a corner, I want to stitch on this line and get over to where I need to be, or kind of in the right area. So I'm going to use my straight edge and my spacing gauge, which is over here. And so the first thing that I did when I started this was I stitched all the way around the block. All right. So all the way around, you can see this is already stitched. Maybe you can't see it, but you can maybe if I turn it. Yeah, there's stitching there. So now I'm just going to stitch on that previously stitched line just to get over to where I need to be. So I hope that you can see that. I'm just lining up there a little bit and going down to that corner a little bit more. And then I'm going to turn and come this way. Just about 3/4 of an inch is where I need to be. And you know what? I'm just eyeballing it. Just going to there, and then I'm going to put these tools away for now. So if you read the instructions or watch the instructions that are in the, there's a code in here that in the package for the miniature Baptist band set, there's a code, and you can scan that for instructions. The instructions tell you to start at the top left corner and go to your right. Well, I have found that I could also start this way and go left. So whichever way is more convenient for you. I'm going to go the other way today. I think it might help you see what we're doing better. But generally I work the other way. All right, so on this template, there's a pinpoint here in the middle, and you could use a pin if you want to. The kit comes with, or the set comes with a pin. This set is not in your box for this quarter, but it is a great set to have. You can also get larger Baptist fan sets. All right, so I'm putting this pinpoint right in the corner of my block, of my square, and then there are, of course, this line I can use to line up. There's a line here. Can you see them? See something else here. There's a line here that I can use to line up with, and there's a line over here that I can use to line up with. So that's the point on the corner of my square, of my block. All right. So that's there. And then what I need to do is get my foot all the way over to this outer edge of the channel. So I'm just moving that a little bit. And now I'm going to come up to my previously stitched line. Now, if I were starting from at the very beginning, I would go all the way to the edge of my block. Okay. And I'm just going to go to here because I'm filling in from what I did before. I want to go through to that line. And then if you were going clear over to here, you would have to stitch up to about 1/2 inch to get where you're going to come back. But since I'm here, I'm just going to go over a little bit on that previously stitched line. So you're going to do some backtracking here. And now, again, I'm lining up the same square with the edge of my quilt block. Okay. And if I haven't come far enough this way, I'll stitch a little farther, or I'll stitch back if I need to. And then I'm going back down to the baseline. All right. Now, after each one, you're going to stitch over to the right about 1/4 or 1/2 inch, about 1/2 inch, and just use any straight edge. I'm going to go ahead and put, actually, you'll find it easier if you try to keep these templates in order a little bit as you go. The first time I did it, I didn't, and I was searching for them everywhere. All right, so I need to go a little bit farther. And again, notice I'm using the outer part of the channel here. You can use the inside too, then you would have lines every 1/4 inch. That's just a little bit too much for my taste, but you may like it that way. Also, notice that here the template is resting on the line that I previously stitched. So you can use these edge markings, and after you've done one, you've got the other marking here to follow. So now I'm just going to come up here. And remember, I'm just at a corner where I had previously stitched. You could be going all the way over to the edge. That's going the wrong way. Move that over there. So now I'm going to stitch up this line a little bit. And now put this back on here for alignment. And looks like I'm okay, so I'm just going to go back on down. All right, and I'm going to come over again. Now this time I know I'm going to have to come over more because I'm starting with the little template again. So I generally have a habit to just restack these so that I can grab the one I want easily. So I'm just going to go over here to a little bit there. That's good. Now, wherever this first template rests, for example, we started over here on this corner. That corner where we start, that is, well, online you'll see when you read the instructions, it's called the honesty line, the honesty point. So now we're starting a new set. We have a new honesty point. Wherever we start, this time it's going to be at the end of the last one that we did. So now I'm just lining up there. This time I don't have a vertical line here, but if you would feel more comfortable, you could draw yourself a grid there. This turns out to be on this one 2 1/4, but that doesn't mean it will for you. It depends on how many, if you're using the inside or the outside and how many templates you're using. So you'll have to make your own sample and judgment on that. I feel like I'm doing okay without a grid line, so I'm just going to go. Okay, so now this is kind of how it would look if you were starting over here and doing a whole one. It would have went clear to the line. So here we're going clear to whatever line is there. And then I'm just going to go up this line a little bit and get my next template. When you first put it in, I always look for this line here, this previously stitched line, and I just line up with it, kind of ish. And then I check that my point is on, turn this a little bit, that my point is on that line where I ended, and I'm lining up these two lines on that outer edge. So I am going to turn, I don't have to turn this every time. If I'm good in a position, I can just do it from here. I just feel more comfortable doing it the other way because that's the way I've been doing it all along. So I'm going to switch it back. All right. So now I'm just using this one as my straight edge to go over about 1/2 inch. Now I've done those two. I'm ready for the third one. And again, here's my dot right on that line. I'm lining up these lines. This is right on the stitching there. I know I have to stitch over a little farther to get to my line. Alright. And now that I'm here, I'm just going to stitch back up this previously stitched line a little bit. I'm never sure how much. I'm going to adjust as I go. So again, I'm lining this curve up, and I'm checking the straight line back here and on this side, and I'm making sure that my point, little pinpoint, is on that line. Now I see that I've got to stitch a little bit more up that line, so I'm just coming to my ruler and then going around. Okay, so I just finished stitching up that line, and then I came on around. Now I'm just restacking my templates just because I find that easier. I'm going to now move over to the right again. When you're ready to start a new set, you have to go over about 3/4 inch instead of the 1/2. All right, so now I'm getting lined up again. My pinpoint is going on my new honesty line, and I'm lining up these edges. And I see that I need to stitch to the right a little bit, and then I will make my circle. a portion of a circle. All right, now I'm just going to stitch up this line a little bit. You can see I have my laser light on. I think you can see it. I have a Bernina 990 with the built-in stitch regulation, and that laser light is very helpful. I think that's good. I need to stitch up a little bit more to the line and then over to the edge. Oh, I got off a little bit there, but I'm not going to tell if you don't. It's a little misshapen. I could go fix it, but I'm not going to. Okay, there we go. What I know is that in the scheme of things, after this is all done, we're not even going to notice that little bobble. So I don't worry about it too much. If it's worrying you, you can take yours out. You know, and if I was entering this in something, I would be more concerned as well, but I am not. All right, I finished stitching up that line to my template, and now I'm going around back to the baseline. All right, just restacking my templates again, and I'm going over to the right about 3/4 of an inch. And I'm lining up my template, starting with the little one again. I always tend to take a few stitches in place, 1 or 2, at least 2, because I want to make sure that that locks right there. It's a good point. Okay, now I'm doing template 2, lining it up here with the stitched line, then checking my lines, my horizontal lines back there. Now I'm going to stitch back to the template. And around. One more stitch here. And then over about 1/2 inch. I love these templates. They make such a good background for things. All right, getting everything lined up there. Looks like I need to go to the left just a bit. The template, there we go. All right, one more to go here. Lining it up with my stitching and my pinpoint and those horizontal lines. I see that I need to move down my stitching a little more. Okay, so there's another complete one. Now, one thing, when I get close to the edge, I want to check to see if I can get one more full set in. So, you know what, I just use a little ruler and I go like this with my thumb. There's my starting point, here's my ending point, and then I move that over and say, okay, yes, I can get one more. That was a very technical measurement right there. Hope you enjoyed it. All right, about 3/4 of an inch. I feel like I went too far. I'm restacking these so they'll be where I need them. And oh, look, I'm pretty good here. I didn't go too far. Had to go one stitch over. All right, so now I'm just stitching up the line. Now, you may be a little fearful of doing that free motion stuff there, but let me tell you, the more you do it, just be slow and careful. The more you do it, the more comfortable you'll be with it. It won't scare you so much. And I don't know about the rest of you, but I personally do rulers because I stink at free motion. So there you go. By the way, this extra space you see over here on the right, when you get this panel, it comes with this extra white space over here. You could use that in your project. I am not. I'm just going to use this part for the pillow, but it's all available to you. All right, I think that's lined up. I need to move to the right a little bit and then around. Now up to stitch again. Lining up my stitches, lining up my horizontal lines back there, making sure that the pinpoint is on the right area. And I think that I'm good there. All right, and now we are kind of back where we were when I started this line. I can't fit another set in here. I could start a set and then come over here and go, but I'm going to turn now. You decide where you want to turn when you're doing yours. So I'm going to grab my spacing gauge and straight edge. I'll tell you what, probably if you weren't watching, I would probably just freehand it. Again, the more you do that, the easier it's going to be. I can see that I need to move right one more stitch. There we go. See, it's just a little way, so you could manage that. All right, I'm stacking these. Although I have the bigger one top for some reason, our bottom. Okay, so again, pinpoint is right on the corner. This time I'm using this vertical line and this horizontal line together. And I'm going to stitch to the previous line of stitching or to the edge, whichever one I come to first. All right, well, that was a close one. I could have went a little farther. I think I will. Let's see, on this first one, when I did it, when I started again, I came right to this edge, and then I bubbled a little bit. That's okay. So, you know, each one will be a little different, or could be. Maybe if you have a grid, it'll be more perfect, but I won't do as perfect. All right, again, when you're at the corner, you're going to line up with the vertical and horizontal line. And I'm just going back to baseline. Stitching over about 1/2 inch. And a new template, I'm lining up again. Anytime you're at the corner, you're going to use this vertical line. Or if you draw a grid, you'll use it there too. That wasn't quite to the line. Alright, there we go. Alright, so now I have filled in that corner. Now I can start with a full one again. Starting with the first one, you go over about 3/4 of an inch. And you have a new honesty point. So now I'm just using the horizontal lines back here, but again, if you draw a grid, then you would have a line here to follow. I'm okay with not having a line. Sometimes I take those extra stitches just because I'm trying to get closer to the line, but then I settle for what I have. All right, that looks good. I need to stitch closer to the template. I felt like I had veered off a little, so I did a little back stitch there. Again, it's the unlining up with those stitches and that line, and over here with that line. That seems close enough to me. And back stitching, back tracking, and for this one, looking back behind my machine. And you know, in the scheme of things, if you're off a little bit, nobody's going to know that. Unless you're pointing it out. You're not, are you? I know, I do too. I think I'm good there. It's repetitious, but that, you know, I think we get better as we do that. And I would definitely recommend using that design pad to draw this out first. Particularly with that Snowflake template number 10, because it's got a little hump. Anytime we do this in our design pad, first we get a feeling for the gotchas. Just look back behind there, and I wasn't on that thing, so. Right, now I believe I can get a full one in here, and then I'll just fill in the gap. I'll show you what I mean. So I'm just going to go over again, 3/4-ish, and line up. This is a good design to compress some of the background so your design pops a little more. See, I did another little straight there. I'm not telling. Except for all of you. You won't tell me. Up the back. And coming around. Horizontal line and my pinpoint, honesty point, coming to the template and going around. Now, if you start coming back around here and you are going to hit one of these lines, then you just stop at the line. All right. Now, this could be a little tricky. It won't be too bad. So, you know, usually I go over about 3/4 of an inch. Well, that puts me right there. That may not be enough here because it's just, I'm not sure if it's 1/4 of an inch or not. But I'm going to go to there and we'll see. All right, so this tells me that I still need to go to the right more. but I don't want to do that. This is where my template belongs. So instead of going to the right, I'm going to come up this line of stitching until I hit my template and then go over it. You see, I'm just completing the pattern. Just lining up back there just like I normally do. I've got to come up the line a little bit and then back over it. And I'm just going to stop whenever I hit stitching. All right. Now I can see that I'm going to have to stitch that way a little bit and then come up this one. And I'm not sure to where, so I'm going to have to measure. Template in place to determine where you need to be. I'll come up just a little more and then go over. Last line. I've got some threads there. And you can see that I'm still on this line of stitching. I'm still using the point back there, making the vertical or the horizontal line match, making sure I'm on the template and going across. When I get to that line of stitching, I'm done. And I'm just going to do a few stitches in place and pull up my thread. Can't remember where the buttons are. There we go. Okay, so that is my background with my mini Baptist fans. Just want to compress that down a little bit. Now I'm going to do a motif here in the center. So I'm going to pause for a minute and use my crosshair square to mark this and get ready for that. So just one moment. All right, I'm back. I have my panel marked with an 8-point crosshair. You could use 5 or 6, whichever you wanted. And I'm using this Spinifex Snowflake template number 10. I'm going to do, well, it's this rotation, but I'm going to move my pieces out farther so they're not going to overlap right here. On this template, it has numbers. Not sure if you can see them. There's a 6, 7, 8 on this side. There's 3, 4, 5 over here. There's a horizontal line right here. If you use this one, you do get this overlapping heart thing that I like so much. But I'm going to back mine off and I'm going to line up number 7. So I'm going to drop my needle in the center and I'm going to line up the lines vertical as I need to. And then I'm going to line up number 7 horizontally, if that makes sense. Oh, you know what? I need to change my thread. Hang on a second. All right, my thread has changed. I'm just using Aurifil thread today, and I went with brown and blue just because of the panel that I'm using. I know in the Winter 26 box that you're getting a Wonderfil gold thread. That might be really fun to use here, but I'm sticking with the brown and blue. So I'm going to bring my thread up in the middle, although I am going to put my template in place first and, you know, come up in the middle of the template. There is a gate on it, so you could take that out and line up that way if you wish. Trying to find my tools. I'm just grabbing that with my tweezers, or at least attempting to. So I have both my threads. I'm actually going to put my needle back down And I'm going to hide these threads under my template if I can. There we go. Now I'm going to go toward me just so that it helps you see what I'm doing. But if you can see, there's a number 7 line up here. I'm going to put that on my chalk line. The marking chalk that I'm using, I use a Choco liner pen, but I take the chalk out of it that comes with it, and I put in the pounce iron off so that I can get rid of it easily that way. And again, number 7 on the horizontal line, and the vertical lines are lined up as well. Now, these little points here are kind of gotchas when you try to go around them. The ones that are right in here. So you'll have to slow down for those. I see that my thread is caught up in there, so I'm just going to stop for a moment and get that out of there, because I don't want to sew all over it. We already have. I love my tweezers. Okay. I have to line up again. We're good there. So right here is the gotcha point around this corner. Just slow down and take it easy. Isn't that cute? All right, so I'm going to spin this around and do the opposite. I need to draw up evenly, as good as I can get it. And of course, you can go to the right first or to the left first, whichever feels comfortable. I'm going to try the other side now. So for whatever reason, I felt like going to the left was easier for me. So you just do what you got to do. I'm lining up my number 7. Just use, the same point each time. Practice with all these different numbers and see which design you get from each one. Again, design pad, they're so wonderful. I can see that I am to the left of my point somehow. There we go. And I can see I'm going to be close to my stitching here, but it looks like I'll miss it, so I'm okay. Very curvy, is it? I kind of got off there because I was in my mind thinking, don't hit that line. So don't think like that. But again, I'm not changing it. It's a snowflake. It's supposed to be unique. My, that looks good. Right now I'm going to do the angles. I'm still using the same lineup. You could choose to make that one come out farther if you wanted, because you have more space in the corner. I'm going to leave mine on the 7. Looks like I need to go to the right a little bit there. So I did. When you start doing the angles, you'll see that these will start to get real close together. Like they're getting ready to hold hands, but not quite there. I'm not sure. I thought it was cute. And you know, this is mine, so it's all about what I think right now. So there you go. Right, here we go. And you can tell when you don't line it up very well because you're off on a little on this. Actually, this is where I went around that corner. And I'm going to have to come and redo that because I can see that that is one long stitch there I'm going to have to fix. So I'll have a little bit stitched over there. So let's see, have I done all of them? Oh, here's one more. And I still need to fix that one. Another thing you can do is check your previous stitching here and kind of make sure they're even. Alright, now I gotta find that one that's shapen. There you go, this one right here. You can see that that's one long piece right there. I'm going to restitch the whole thing. It won't be perfect, but that's what it's going to be. You know, if I was really picky, I'd go back and stitch some other ones too, because they're double stitched, and maybe I will do that just because maybe bolder. And no, I'm not going to because it'll be a little off. So I'm just going to say that is okay. I'll just do a few stitches right here and cut my thread. Okay, so there that is. I will cut this also, and I will take out a few stitches right there. I'll do that, and I will come back with, I'm going to go and trim this also. Trim this, and I'll get my back pieces ready and make us a pillow. I'll be back in a moment. Okay, I'm back. I have my piece trimmed, and I just trimmed 1 inch outside of the block, printed block. And I have a couple of pieces here. I have just doubled them over. You could, you know, take a single piece and fold the edges and do a little hem. I'm going to lay these pieces right side up on top of the block, which is right side up because I'll be turning it. And I'm just putting the raw edges to the raw edge of the block here. And just overlap them. Now, in the written instructions that you'll find, I was assuming I would have a bigger block, so these back pieces are bigger and my block is bigger. So you may want to trim these pieces accordingly to whatever size your block is. Might be too much of an overlap, but I'm going to go with it. And I'm just using some wonder clips here to hold these layers together. And I'm going to do, I was going to do about a 1/2 inch seam allowance because I thought I had a little more room. I bought a 14-inch pillow, and I'm going to stuff it in there anyway, I hope. If it's just allows me enough room. Oops. I'm going to want that, I'm sure. So hang on 1 second while I pick it up. Looks like I need a couple over here. I'll just do this side first. I'm going to use the side of my foot here, which will give me about maybe 3/8 of an inch for the seam. And I'm using a 2.5 stitch length. And when I'm here crossing over these overlapping pieces, I'm going to do a little back stitch. Well, I'm going to try if I hold the right button. And I'm going to do it over here too. And at the bottom. And then turn. That'll work. I have a little hanging over there, so I'm not staying on that edge for that reason. Well, I went past that and didn't double stitch it, but I will double stitch here. Chose an envelope style backing, but you could choose whatever you want. I'm just going to go around this corner a little bit and back stitch. And cut my thread. Alright, so that's all good. I'm going to clip this corner a little bit. All of the corners I'm going to clip. Alright, and then I'm going to turn this. Let's see how it goes. When I have corners like this, I fold these over like this before I turn it because I find that I get a better point. Although I didn't do it the way I need to, I'm going to get my thumb in here. And then I hold this while I flip it. And you see it's pretty well out there already. I'll just use this tool to get it out there a little more. Okay. So that's done. Did it wrong again? I want my thumb in there. I just find that gets me really close to the point I want almost immediately. And I don't want it to be too pointy, so there's that. All right, one more. Alright, there's my pillow. I kind of like that little white border there. You may not want that part in your pillow, but I did. I'm going to go press this and put my pillow in it, and we'll see how it goes. I'll be right back. Technical issue, bear with me. All right, back one more time. I've got this pressed and stuffed. Here's the back, gaping a little. Here is the one that I went back and stitched again. You can see a little double stitching there. I got to pull out, but I did get that big loop out. And there's my pillow with the mini Baptist fan design around the edge and the snowflake number 9. Yes, number 9. I did check. In the middle. I hope you like it. Enjoy. Thank you.